Welcome back, everybody. Mario and Daniel here. We're trying a different schedule, at least for us. Daniel and I,
Yes.
we're trying to see in the evening and see how it works out. And you guys let us know, as always. This is Mario and Daniel on the Awaken Man podcast.
hmm
And we were just talking a little bit ago about how uh, sometimes we structure our universe, what we ask from the universe. If we structure how we want it, we might miss something out. And Daniel was talking about a situation where he's in where if he hadn't just let go, it's like he got money one way and he got it a different way because he let go on that.
Yeah. No, I've had some crazy experiences when I've needed money
Mm-hmm.
where money has come for free. One time my Uber account got hacked and someone was using it and racked up a bunch of money on my Uber account. And then it was because my account got scammed. And then Uber ends up giving me all that money. And it was like the exact money I needed to pay off debt. It was like funny. It was like, oh, I never have a lot in the coffers or the savings, but it's
Mm-hmm.
weird. I always get exactly what I need when I need it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's happened to me before, and it's really weird. For me, it's a little bit different in the like I'm also an entrepreneur, just like Daniel. And sometimes when I concentrate too much on getting money and I'm looking at the bank account and I'm looking at the bank account, it's, oh man, my bank account is low. My bank account's low. No business is coming in or nothing like that. And it really sucks. And I get so frustrated with me. And then the moment I just say, you know what? It's like universe, it's like source, go ahead and just I'm in your hands. And then all of a sudden, it never fails. The day afterwards, I get a phone call. Hey Mario, it's like we need some help. I need you to do this or I need you to do that. It's so funny. It's so funny how we limit ourselves just by trying to control things like that.
yeah, definitely. And, the shadow, the masculine is control.
You're right.
So, I mean, especially with money, it's so tied to survival. I know me, I worry about money and it's been a thing for a long time. It's getting less and less and less, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
like interesting. That's like how tied it is to being a man just in
Yeah.
general. If you're not prosperous, if you don't have a bunch of money saved up in a house and you're not a real man, right? Then you can't get a
Mm-hmm.
wife and you can't ever, which was not, I don't have a wife, but I didn't really
Right.
want one. But, that wasn't the case. But it's just like these preconceived notions kind of keep the universe from giving us what we need in the moment. Because
Yeah.
you could not need a bunch of savings and just be given everyone's different. But
Yeah.
there's like one way we're supposed to be. And for me, I went through it. I got the job, almost bought a condo, all the things, which aren't wrong. And then there was a moment I was like 25 and I realized I was living out everyone else's dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh crap, this is not what I want per se. And that's changed over time, but it's like,
Yeah.
we're allowed as men to have our own way of being in this world.
That's funny, because for me, I had my brother getting killed. That kind of was the event, and I was following along the same exactly what you just said. I'm the man. It's like we had a house, a really nice house. We had a really nice job, and we were working on the kid part. Because if you have a family, you have to have kids, and it turned out, the I was following what the American dream, that little box. And what happened, the good thing, sounds weird. The good thing about my brother getting killed, it really shocked me into really seeing what is my dream. And that's what I ask everybody. It's like, look at your dream, what it is, not what everybody's telling you. And that's a very different dream than what we're probably going through right now.
Yeah. And it's starting to change and transform. And it was in my life. Like I want to travel and now I don't. And I want to be stable. Like it always like shifts. But yeah, like really just knowing what your heart desires. And it's probably
Mhm.
less than you think you need. Like there's
Yes.
this idea that, and it's not that not have abundance and not be huge, but like even people that run their businesses that are successful, they only take out what they need, right? And if that's
Right.
less, their businesses actually grow more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you look at a lot of entrepreneurs, the Warren Buffetts, like they don't need a lot. Like the reason they create their business isn't to have a big house, unless you want that. But I guarantee that most people don't. Like
Yeah.
deep down, they don't want that. They probably want less, or they want a townhouse or whatever,
Right.
they
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. I mean, with Warren Buffett, it's really funny. They interviewed him, and this was in the late '90s or mid '90s, somewhere around there. And they talked to him about the car, and the car was a Volvo from early '80s. And they asked him, so why don't you get a new fancy car? And it's, what, that's working. It's like, and it's another expense that I don't need. And it's what made him happy. It's like he was happy having that same Volvo, and and it's really finding what's inside of us, because it when we start looking at something outside of us for the happiness, that's where it gets convoluted. That's where we figure out we're always chasing the dream because it's not our dream, so there's never no endpoint on it, is the way I see it.
Right. Yeah. And knowing that, your dream is probably happiness, some internal state. I know for me, I guess I never realized this moment, but I kind of knew my dream was to have inner peace because I was so depressed and anxious that even thinking about money today, I was on a hike for a while. I was like, I don't even care if I have the money or not. I just don't want to worry about money anymore.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with having money, because there's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of people that have millions of dollars that are worried about money still, about
Yeah.
losing it. Or there's people that have no money that aren't worried about it. I've met so many people. So really what you want is inner peace anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's your actual desire. And then whatever surrounds that will just happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we really know what we really want sometimes. I can look at a job from a distance and be like, I want to be a firefighter. But until I go in the fire, I don't really know I want it. I might not really want that job once I get in it.
Yeah.
I think my higher selves know, don't go that way. That sounds good in your head, but you think you want that, but really this is what you really would desire, whatever that is. I don't know.
Yeah, and if we desire, if we look at other people's desires and we look at that and go, oh, I really would like that. Oh, I really would like that. Oh, look at their car. It's like, I really would like that. And it's funny because that, once again, I mean, just listen to what I'm saying. It's like when I say, oh, look at them, I want that. But I am never really saying I would really like to have this for me. I'm always looking at somebody else and I want that. And obviously there's billions of people in the world. So we're always going to have something else to look at. And why not just look inside of us and go, it's like, this is what I really want. And like you said, the money, the definition of what people want as far as how much money, it really is different for everybody.
Right. I mean, if you have a family, it depends where you live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's people in rural Alabama that, could make $30,000-$40,000 a year and own a house. I mean,
Yeah.
So their level of abundance needed is a lot less than, I'm in Denver, so it's a little more depending on how you want to live. But that also makes a difference. So it's all convoluted and different. And to me, it's like detaching from the news and billboards and all those things. Mm-hmm. So then you can tap into what you desire.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the things I've learned, and like you, it's like I'm learning there's not much I need. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like I'm happy just having very minimal stuff. And I'm still decluttering, don't get me wrong. Just because I say I'm very minimal in what I do, what I want, it's like doesn't mean that I don't want like a big trip or something. But if I don't get the big trip, it's not a big thing for me right now. It's like, oh yeah, if it's meant to happen, I'm pretty flowy that way. I can kind of move around and just go, it's like, oh, you know what? It's time for that. And when I feel it, that's when I go for it. And that's the way I am. And it makes me very happy. I'm always, they call me the happy Buddha. And it's like, there's a reason, because why am I going to have to worry about what's happening in the future when right now is all that really have, and it's the only thing that we can even do anything with. It's funny.
Yeah, no, I loved what you said with, yeah, if it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. Because to me, that's surrender. Because
Yeah.
for me, I wanted to travel too. And I kind of like felt in, I didn't really need it. I mean, I've traveled a lot. If you followed my life, I haven't been, you can tell by my background changing, I haven't been stable, but I'm probably going to be stable. But if I have the money to travel, then I'm supposed to. Part of me thinks I didn't have the money when I wasn't supposed to because I would have just taken off. So the
Right.
universe was helping me surrender because you gave me $10,000, I'd be gone for 4 months. And the universe was like, no, we don't want that for you. So knowing that, surrender is so much easier. It's like, if I have the money for that, then I'm supposed to have it. If I don't, then I won't get it. You'll get the money when you need it, which has kind of been how my life has been. I've never had a bunch of savings, but when I do, it's because something's coming that I need it.
Right.
It's weird, like something knows like one step ahead for me. And it's like, you need to do this. And I work, and then I like have exactly the amount of money I need, and that I don't even know is coming. It's like really bizarre.
Yeah, it's everything in perfect order. I mean, that's the thing that I've learned. The other lesson I've had is that it's like everything is in perfect order, no matter as much as crazy as it looks. Like when anything happens now, it's like, wow, it's hard saying it. It's like, oh, well, it's like, oh, this is all perfect. And it took me a while to really understand that, because when you say that, you really are surrendering to what is now. It means that when I say everything's perfect right now, it means that I am at a place where I feel that everything that's happening right now to me is what's supposed to happen, because I trust the universe. I trust source or God or whatever you want to use the name for, whatever you feel, because that allows things to just happen. And rather than limiting myself by going, it's like, oh, but I want to go this way. I don't know. I think I'm repeating myself.
Right. I mean, I think there's a statement, because in the spiritual community, everyone's wanting to manifest what they want, and gets a little ridiculous. And I've been there, but it's like, I wanted to manifest money forever. And I'm like, I'm just going to give up trying. I'm not supposed to have it, which is, I think, why you're taught to manifest things. So at some point you give up because it doesn't really work. It like works half the time. It's like flipping a coin and making a choice. And you're like, oh, this is just superstitious. Like, this doesn't really work. Like, yes, I visualize some things and they come to me, and then some things never come. So obviously it's not about that, and then you kind of just surrendered, everything's perfect. And then really you're trusting, a life. I like life or God or whatever word, but life is going to give you what you need in the moment. And it just makes you more relaxed when you realize that. You're like, oh, cool. Like, this is just like, I just get to ride this ride. Like, I don't have to do so much, it's, you get more into that Tao, that's
Taoism and all that.
Yeah, that type of state, which if anything America needs, it's more Taoism. We're chilling the fuck out.
And you're right. There's a certain freedom when we finally give up that, whatever you want to call it, control, manipulation, whatever. Whenever you give that up, whenever I give it, at least for me, whenever I give it up, it's like this whole weight lifted from me, because I know that everything that's happening is meant to be happening. I don't have to do this. And I'm not saying I'm not going to do something. It just means that I'm accepting things as they go along. So if I'm doing something and that doesn't work that way, it's like, okay, well, let's change gears and go this way. Oh, that's not working. Okay, let's change gears and go that way. Rather than forcing the issue. It's like, what do they say? The cog in the square, the circle in the square. It's like you're trying to get that thing and going, and it just won't go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was Ubering today, and I got frustrated at one point because this order took so long to deliver. But other than that, like, I realized, like, when I first started doing Uber like 3 years ago, how much I tried to manipulate it. I was like, well, if I think positive, then I'll get this new ride. Like, I was like constantly like manipulating it. And today I was just like, well, it's slow. I'm just going to go sit down and do nothing for a while until I get around. Like, it wasn't like I was going to do a positive thought and visualize something. I was just like, all right, this is where, and it was so much easier.
Yeah.
And then I have more energy to do more, which is, that's the whole thing of the Tao, is that if you're not trying to manipulate nature, which to me is what real magic, like magic isn't about manipulating nature, it's about flowing with it. So then you have more energy to do everything because you're not fighting. Like you gave up that, and then your back will feel better and your shoulders will feel better. I know my body's felt better since I've done that.
Yeah.
Stress goes down, all those things.
It's liberating. I mean, if only I wish I could bottle that up and give to people, because when I finally got to that point, it was really liberating, and it's so unexplainable, but it's such a relief, and you feel the freedom, and it's a freedom that can't be explained, that can't be written. You can't write about it. We can't even talk about it and explain it. It just allows you to do a lot of movement in your life, and whether you feel you're needing something outside of you, there's an inner peace that we just get, and know that everything will be all right. I mean, the world could be coming to a crazy disaster, and we know that everything is in that perfect order.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I had a situation with a court, and it's not anything like illegal, but come to me, and like, yes, I freaked out. Like, I mean, I had anxiety and stress, like, but instead of being like, oh, I'm not supposed to, I was like, well, that's just a normal reaction to this circumstance. And then I just meditated, and I'm fine within, 12 hours. While that would have taken me 6 months, probably 5 years ago to get over. I would have been worried the whole time, but I was like, well, this is perfect. And then I had the energy to take action because I'm not freaking out.
Right.
Which solved the problem already. So, and not that you're doing it to solve the problem. That's the ironic part. You're just, that things are just, flowing. And even if it seems like it's going the wrong way, the water wouldn't complain if it was going over rapids. It would just be like, well, I'm just going to go over the rapids, and then I'll be in calm again.
Yeah. And, that's one of the other things that, especially in the spiritual world, I mean, in spiritual community, you always, because I hear it from people that are not very spiritual, they go, oh, well, you guys are so happy-go-lucky. It's like, no, the thing that everybody also forgets is that we're human. So we, like you talked about your situation. I mean, like for me, my situation where the news about my brother, I also had to tell my mom, and I'm not saying back then that if I was in the same state I am now, that I wouldn't feel those emotions. I feel all the emotions. But what I'm saying is I'm not blocking those emotions anymore, because that's what was killing me. Not blocking that fear. It's like, oh, no, I'm a man, especially for men, isn't it? It's like, that's one of the things I've been learning. It's like, as a man, it's like, oh, we're not supposed to be fearful of this. Well, we're supposed to tackle this on. It's okay. It's okay to be fearful. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry, as long as we know that we're angry and we're releasing it in a healthy way. If what is healthy, and healthy means where you're not really, in my opinion, it is where it's not hurting another individual, or where you're actually releasing it in a way that's healthy for you, so it doesn't give you a heart attack or raises your blood pressure. I mean, just that alone, it's very healthy.
Right. I agree. I mean, yeah, like earlier today, being frustrated for the food taking too long. Like, I just let myself be frustrated, and then I felt better right away. Yeah. It's so funny when you just like let yourself, because you're just like, well, I'm feeling that, and you just don't want to hurt anyone else. I mean, that's really mastery, is in not feeling those emotions, be able to feel intense emotions and not ever project them on others.
Yeah.
But the people that don't feel them are the ones hurting people the most.
Yeah.
So it's not like if you feel anger, you're going to hurt people more. Well, it's the opposite. If you suppress your anger, then you're going to, I mean, I've done it, lashed out on people, and then you're lashing out at the wrong situation. And anger is good because it pushes that person away, because that's what you want. But, you don't want to do it in an unhealthy way. That's hopefully what we want to get to as a society.
Yeah. Yeah, because, when we see it all the time, it's like, for me, I would get angry, especially when I started, being a lot more spiritual, I wanted everybody to get this. So it seems like a going thing I'm discovering. If you just discovered spirituality, or you want, oh man, everybody needs to know this. And I would get so angry at, I mean, especially my family, because I wanted to bring them over and go, it's like, you know what? Oh, guys, you should experience this and blah, blah, blah. And because they would tell me no, or they'd give me stories, I would get so angry at them. But rather than expressing it, I was keeping it up, and I was feeling it. And it's like, oh, why are they not doing this? And then I just started accepting, oh, you know what? That's where they are. And it's okay, because if it's meant to happen for them, then it'll happen at that time. And if not, then it won't. And once I came to that piece, that anger that I had wasn't festering in me, but I had to actually recognize it and allow it to flow through and go, it's like, oh yeah, I was feeling angry, rather than being my, quote, my fairy spiritual self and go, oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Right. I would do that too. Just not being honest about my emotions, because if I was pretend happy, then I would, attract more awesome things into my life. And I used to have an Abraham Hicks book, and I would flip to a random page in the book, and I kept on flipping to be honest about your emotions, like over and over again. I didn't get it, I guess. I do now, but I'm like, oh yeah, you can't fake it. And the more you feel, then it flows out.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I was told to embrace my emotions when they're there. So whatever it is, and then it'll move through faster.
Yeah.
Not the reason to do it, but it does. If you're angry, you'll be only angry for 30 seconds if you let yourself be angry. You'll be angry for 2 days if you don't.
Yeah.
Or you'll get back pain or something, and then, you'll be pissed about that.
Yeah, and I learned that in Vipassana, how our body really does manifest all of that. I had survivor's remorse with my brother because, why was he dead and I wasn't? And so I wasn't, and that was, so he passed in 2009. I went to Vipassana in 2012. So what, that's 4 years, yeah, that's 4 years. So in 4 years still, I was feeling it, and I went to Vipassana, and it's interesting because Vipassana just teaches you to scan your body. And I was feeling all this pain, when I was doing that. And then all of a sudden, I just started crying. But before that, my body was aching. My elbows were hurting. My shoulders were hurting. My neck was hurting. My knees and my feet and everything was aching. And then finally, when I recognized, it's like, oh man, it's like I'm feeling survivor's remorse. And it's like it's like, why him and not me? And once I started crying for it, literally, as the tears were coming out of me, my body stopped aching. And if people don't think that we manifest our emotions in our body, it's like, I can tell you from personal experience that we do. And that was living proof to me. And ever since then, after Vipassana, I go, oh no, it's like, this is a lot of stuff to carry. It's like, I'll just let my emotions flow through.
No, definitely. Ourselves holding memories is pretty scientifically proven. Therapists have been working with the body forever, and then massage therapists will tell you the same thing happens. But yeah, definitely. My back hurt, and it was all emotional. I just had to slow down to feel the things that I was just ignoring by running, and I was running my body, and it was really just trying to get me to slow down. Probably still trying to get me to slow down, but that's okay.
You're very fast moving.
And you feel, you just feel better. And knowing that, yes, you still want to exercise and eat healthy, but when you feel those emotions, I feel like that just comes naturally. Probably because you love yourself more, because you're willing to feel your emotions, so then you're going to make different choices.
Yeah.
But, and that's why I think exercising, as I wear my yoga shirt, is so important. I can't move my emotions. I did my own meditation retreat, and I was guided to work out a lot. If I just meditate, it doesn't work for me personally. I have to go move. It moves my emotions. Nature, especially with moving, is perfect. It just runs through my system. But if I don't move my body, my emotions just get stuck. But I don't think that's the same for everyone, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. It's like, for me, it's like I can walk a little bit, but really, as weird as this sounds, it's like laying in the back of a tree. I mean, on the tree, putting my back against the tree. That works for me. Walking barefoot, I mean, on the grass to me helps. Going out and walking my dog helps out a lot, or even just going to the pool and swimming in the pool helps me release that. I mean, that's sort of exercise
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's different for everybody, and that's one of the things that I also would like everybody to know is that what we say here is not what will definitely work for everybody. It's what works for us, and that's the inner journey that we all have to go through is discovering what works for us. Because the only person that knows what'll work for us is us. Not
Yeah.
yeah. We could read all the books and everything that say this, oh, do this and do that. And until we find what works for us, then that's what it is. And
Oh,
just
definitely. I mean, and you get ideas from people, and then
yeah.
like, I listen to like Hal Cease, the spiritual teacher, and he helps me, and he would say not to go watch movies. Now, my inner child right now really wants me to take it to a movie. And if I just like went blindly by teachings,
Mhm.
right? I mean, yes, I don't want to watch TV every night, but my inner child really, it's been telling me it for like 3 or 4 days. Like there's
Yeah.
something, and I'm going to do that tonight. And I'm like, okay, this is the night we have time. I'm always talking to myself like it's my kid, and I will see the inner child and spirit next to me. Like I
Yes.
see like I play video games with my child. Like there's real things I do.
Mhm.
So that's why you get to trust yourself and take what we say if it resonates.
Mhm.
Um, if exercise resonates, like someone might be like, I need to exercise. But then there might be someone that's on here that goes, oh, I didn't want to exercise. I never been called to it. I don't really need to release stuff, right? So we just told both sides of the story, and then one
Yeah.
might motivate you towards whatever it is. Um,
Yeah,
and
because what works
that's
for the other.
perfect.
Yeah, what works for one that doesn't work for everybody. That's what I think the with society it's like they try to put us into a box that works for everybody and it doesn't. That comes back to the conversation we started with about what we dream about. It's like what we want. It's like not everybody has the same dream. So how can something that works for everybody be for everybody? It's like not necessarily true. And it's just that inner discovery. That's why life is a journey. This inner peace that we're looking for, it's always a journey. It's never going to be, there's never an end point. That's the other part because I've been working with someone and they see the end point. But in reality, once you reach that end point, you know what's after that end point? Another journey.
Right.
Because it's really one big journey and we make all these little goals and steps. And there is really no end point to our journey until we die. And then even then, we go on to our next life or go into source or go wherever you want to or whatever you want to create for yourself.
Right. I agree. I mean, I was always an MMO fan, so
Hmm.
and they go on forever. And people are like, you
Oh
never
yeah.
beat that game. And I'm like, well, that's the best part. So like to me, that's how I represent life. Like that's what it is. It's like you get to the end and they're gonna make more content and then you're gonna be at higher level. So
Yeah.
it's a never ending thing. It's just an improv with the universe. The universe is like, well, you did that, so now we'll do this. Oh, you've flowed and traveled the country in your car. Well, now we're gonna make you get a house and like be stable. And it's like, well, that's new. Like it's just always expansion,
Yeah.
whatever that is.
And with that, it definitely this podcast has been a journey for us. We've been changing it and trying to figure things out and always want to hear you guys. But we're coming to the end of this journey until the next one. Uh,
Yes.
and the only I always like to have a message at the end because I think it always helps. So for me, the message would be, just look around and remember life is just a journey. It's that simple. That's the only thing I have for today. I don't know if you do, Daniel.
Yeah. I mean, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I know my guidance when I listen, they say that to me a lot. They literally say you're not supposed to be anywhere else. Like, this is where you're supposed to be. And if you make a wrong turn, we'll just tell you where to turn the right way. So there's like, it's always like this kind of like, you're good message. So that's the message. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And from that statement, you'll just jump to parallel realities. That'll be better and better.
And now, actually, I want to end it also. So Daniel has a website, danielmcnicholas.com, and my website, mariorosales.com. And of course, the Awaken Men podcast. You search us on YouTube for Awaken Men podcast, and we are working on a website for the awakenmen.net. There's been a lot of transition on my part about the hosting, so it will come up. I promise, it will be there. But in the meantime, look at YouTube, look at Facebook, look us up, and you can go from there and find us there. Awesome. We love you guys. Love you, Daniel. Always a pleasure. And time goes by fast. Always.
That's true.
Subscribe, everybody. Put a comment at the bottom. Thank you.
Tell me how handsome I am.
You're very handsome, Daniel. Thank
you.
See you later.